Independent radio remains a cornerstone of local culture, but behind the broadcast, many stations are facing an accelerating financial squeeze. National spot radio revenue is seeing an annual decline of 3.5%, a structural shift as budgets move digital. But those budgets haven't disappeared. They've transitioned to the programmatic market, where 90% of display ad spend is transacted. Streaming giants like Spotify are absorbing the millions of dollars currently migrating away from traditional radio. Platforms like Pandora attract these massive budgets, specifically because they have the automated, data-driven infrastructure required to plug directly into the digital advertising market. Independent stations are forced to compete for these same dollars, using only a traditional rate card, leaving them outmatched by the targeting capabilities of big tech. The irony is that independent stations already possess the same rich behavioral listener data that those streaming giants use to dominate the market. Software like Triton Digital and AdsWiz is already collecting valuable signals, from format preferences, daily tuning habits, to precise geographic locations. Without a dedicated exchange infrastructure, this rich stream of behavioral data is effectively trapped inside the station's servers, unable to reach the open market. This countertracks the average external revenue an independent station earns from its data today. Outside of traditional spot sales, the programmatic layer is worth exactly $0. Independent radio is sitting on millions in unmonetized data, waiting for an infrastructure layer that can finally activate it. SMMT serves as the programmatic activation layer. It sits between the station's existing stack and the open market, transforming passive data into automated revenue. The process begins with a direct connection. SMMT links into the station's existing Triton or AdsWiz stack without requiring any data migration. The system then normalizes this raw data, organizing it into anonymous behavioral profiles. To maintain strict privacy, listener IDs and IP addresses are anonymized at the source, ensuring data meets GDPR and CCPA requirements before reaching the exchange. Once scrubbed, the remaining data is clustered into highly targeted behavioral segments based on format, geography, and daypart. Finally, these packaged segments are pushed directly to open programmatic exchanges, where brands bid on them in real time. This four-step pipeline instantly bridges the technological gap, connecting independent radio supply directly to global programmatic demand. For station managers, the primary concern with any new revenue stream is the risk of disrupting the core broadcast product. SMMT is built to avoid those frictions. Activating data requires no format changes and causes zero programming disruption. No new software tools to learn, and no additional headcount is required. The system operates on a revenue share model, running in parallel with traditional spot sales, while remaining completely isolated from the daily sales operation. This gives independent stations a pure, passive programmatic revenue layer with zero upfront capital expenditure. Brand categories like automotive, healthcare, and financial services are actively seeking these precise, format-specific listener segments on the open market. On an open exchange, these display impressions consistently command between $2 and $10 per thousand views. This chart shows the CPM gap between standard inventory and authenticated traffic. Including authenticated IDs in the bid stream drives a value lift of 40 to over 100%. Moving this audience data into connected TV and private marketplaces establishes access to the most premium inventory rates in the industry. Advertisers currently buying basic spot ads now have a data-driven reason to increase their total spend with the station. While Spotify spent a decade building its data infrastructure, SMMT allows an independent station to deploy those same capabilities in a matter of days. Stations don't need to rely on industry benchmarks to see the value. Their passive revenue potential is tied directly to the size of their existing Triton or AdsWiz database. You can book a 30-minute discovery call to model your station's actual numbers with no commitment required. A station's listener data is its most valuable, untapped asset. Survival in the modern market dictates they finally get paid for it.